සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි කාමේසු මිච්ඡාචාරා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි
කාමේසු මිච්ඡාචාරා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි
මුසාවාදා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි
මුසාවාදා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං
සුරාමේරය මජ්ජපමා දට්ඨානා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි
සුරාමේරය මජ්ජපමා දට්ඨානා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි
සමන්තා චක්ඛවාලේසු අත්‍රා ගච්ඡන්තු දේවතා සද්ධම්මං මුනි රාජස්ස සුනන්තු සග්ග මොක්ඛදං ධම්මස්සවන කාලෝ අයං භදන්තා ධම්මස්සවන කාලෝ අයං භදන්තා ධම්මස්සවන කාලෝ අයං භදන්තා නමෝ තස්ස භගවතු අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතු අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතු අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස චිරංජීව මහාවීර කප්පතිට්ඨං මහාමුනි සබ්බ ලෝකස්ස අත්ථාය භවස්සු අජරාමරෝ. Friends in Dhamma, I just recited Chiranjiva Mahavira Kappantitta Mahamuni Sabba Lokasa Athaya Bhavassu Ajaramaru. This was by a lady, a mother of a Buddha and Arahant and a leader of a wonderful movement uttered in praise of the Lord Buddha. Chiranjiva Mahavira, hero, may you live long. Kappantitta Mahamuni, a greatest saint. You may live years, period of many years. Sabba lokassa athaya, for the good of many. Bhavassu ajaramaru, may you live eternally. She knows that it is not something to be wished, but may you live eternally for the good of many. That goes by a lady in praise of the Buddha for the things that he has done in the name of human form. We talk about everywhere today, liberation movement, equal rights, equal opportunity in day-to-day life, in the society, at the workplace, everywhere. Now we are still, even after 2,563 years ago, with the talk about the equality, but today still, everywhere, so-called advanced society, people are struggling. And I mean to say people, the ladies, the women folk are struggling to stand on equal footing, to have equal footing like the men in the society. Okay. So, here we talk about a lady, not an ordinary lady. Even in her social life, she was not an ordinary lady. The wife of a king, the mother of a Buddha, and leader of a society, a leader of a movement, and one of the best organizations on the planet. Still was fighting for the rights, for the equal. For what reasons she was fighting? For what reasons she was fighting? In what capacity she was fighting? Now we talk about Maha Gautami, the lady who said that Chiranjeeva, Mahavira, hero, live long, Bhavassu Ajaramaru, may you live eternally. Telling the Buddha just before her passing away, she wanted to pay respect. And these were the words that came out of her mouth spontaneously in praise of the Buddha for the things the Buddha has done. When we talk about the female ordination for which she fought, for which she organized lots of women folks to join her and march towards Buddha to propose the female ordination. And it was not the first time that the females were ordained, but before that, Buddha's contemporary was Nigantanatha Putra, another name of Vardhamana Mahavira or Jain Mahavira. He had established the ordination. Even today you will find the Mahavira sect monks, but they're different. They don't wear clothes, simply naked. So the ladies were ordained, and they were large in numbers. At the time of the Buddha, there were about 14,000 as recorded in the books. Monks, ascetics were there, but there were 36,000 female ascetics were there. So we see that there has been always an interest in the part of the woman, there is always a faith in the spiritual path than men. Even at the time of the Buddha in Mahavira sect, it was very popular. But there are some strict rules that they had to abide by, which was quite difficult for ladies to accept. But still, because of the interest, their desire for this spiritual quest, they were there. When Mahapajapati Gautami first wanted to request the Buddha, but she didn't approach the Buddha for requesting it. But she had always backing of Venerable Ananda. So she compelled Venerable Ananda to approach the Buddha and propose this idea of female ordination. At first, the Buddha, the decline. Simply Buddha did not want to talk. In today's word, if you want to say, forget Ananda. The flatly rejected idea of. But Prajapati Gautami, who did not give up, So always organizing with the support of others. And at that time, Buddha's relatives, Sakyas, they had a kind of war because of Rohini Ganga. At that time, Buddha approached and settled the matter. In recognizing of Buddha's contribution for settling this matter, the two sides, the kings, Sakya Kosala, both sides agreed that we will send 500 soldiers from our side so that the Buddha can ordain them in gratitude to the Buddha. Sakya also said, okay, we will also send 250. So in total 500 got ordained. And these were married people. So what happened? The ladies, widows, 500 widows. They approached, they tried their best to convince their husbands to come back, give up. But they failed. So they approached Maha Prajapati Gautami. That's how very often you have heard the 500 ladies together with 500 ladies. But simply many people thought, it is just a numbers, it cannot be. The 500, this is 500. 250 from Sakyas, 250 from Kosalas. Yes, widows. So 500, with those 500, Prajapati Gautami approached. She was royal, but many people, even the kings, provided the accommodation and transport. She simply declined. We marched, courage, determination. We marched, sometimes bleeding, barefoot, not proper food, and approached the Buddha. And they were just like rounded up with us. And they were waiting. Venerable Ananda informed Buddha that these ladies are there. Maha Prajapati Gautami is there. For what? They are seeking the permission to get the ordination. No, Ananda, I want. The first time. But Venerable Ananda insisted again and again. Venerable Buddha, he talked to Buddha, Mahavira or Buddha, this is Sister Mother. She suckled and breastfed you. Your mother. It is in gratitude. We should honor her request. Buddha again is asking, your mother was not there, she was there. She breastfed you. And is it right for? Venerable Ananda was able to convince the Buddha. The Buddha said, if it is so, these ladies have to accept 8 rules, we call 8 Garudharma. In that case, Venerable Ananda immediately passed the message to the Prajapati Gautami. She immediately accepted. That is the beginning of a wonderful organization. A wonderful organization. From that onwards, what happened? They simply said, "Hey, Gautami, Bhikkhuni." That is a form of ordination. Only Buddhists can do it. Once they call, "Hey, Bhikkhuni," that means she is Bhikkhuni already. That was the first ordination. And there, when Prajapati Gautami started her movement, all those at called Nigantranatha's center, there were about 30,000 plus ladies, ascetics. They all decided to leave the place and join the Buddha because it's strict rules. According to the Hindu tradition, I have seen, I have gone to see the Mahavira's disciples, Jain, they are still there. But in modern days, we cannot walk with them. Fully naked, but sometimes people invite, like people invite monks, they invite people. So line of people come in naked. So it is difficult for us as we are not used to it. But these people, young kids, young boys, girls, they invite families, here line of people come in fully naked. They sit, the people offer dana, worship, and do that. So that was a type of ordination that Mahavir had. Those ladies, ascetics, they preferred the method, the system, the order of the Buddhist nuns in Buddhist doctrine. So simply they slowly left. Immediately, the Mahapajapati's organization, it became a forceful organization. A forceful organization. It became also a kind of challenge. The monks, it was not growing faster like that of the women. The nuns, and who were the nuns who joined? The princes, queens, rich women, and sometimes servants, sometimes prostitutes. All they joined Buddha's organization, Mahapajapati's organization. And they became quite versed in the Dhamma, well versed in the Dhamma, and spreading the Dhamma, and conducting what we call today retreats, and going from house to house, village to village. An extremely active force. But it didn't have a good beginning. Buddha, at the first time when he refused to give the ordination for the females, at the request of Venerable Ananda's insistence, the first woman after Prajapati Gautami, those first few nuns, after ordination they went to the forest. Those who went to the forest, they were raped. And then monks informed the Buddha. They said, and there's another rule, they said, nuns cannot live far away from the monks. They must live in the vicinity of monks. They must come very often and consult them, get advice. Because this is one reason why Buddha refused to give the ordination for the women folks because of the safety. It is not that because Buddha did not want to give equal rights. No, it was the safety. And then, what happened later? The leadership, some of them who came from different backgrounds, without any training, and they have their own way. Sometimes it is reported that some nuns have insulted monks like Maha. This is because of no training, without any background, simply because they heard the word of the Buddha who is teaching the salvation, they joined. So for that reason, they again said they need to be trained. They need to be trained. So rules one by one the Buddha promulgated. This ordination we call it is something very easy, and ordination we call that it is equal rights for the woman. That has nothing to do with this. Why? Because at the time when Mahapajapati Gautami was fighting for permission for the ordination of women, the society at the time was a bit different society, completely different society of today. Women were not given proper due place. They were considered as subhuman. They were considered subhuman. At the time of the Buddha, the Manu, the lawmaker, what you call the constitution writer, this has written, woman should not be equal. They must not be treated equally. They are inferior. And some poets also supported by this kind of law, what they say, Srungi Nancha, Sanskrit, Sundri Nancha, Nadi Nancha, Nakinan Sastrapaninam, Viswaso, Naiva Kartavya, Istrisu, Rajapulisuja. Srungi Nancha, Nadi Nancha, those who carry weapons, and also the rivers, Rajapulisuja, royal families, Istrisu, the woman. Never trust those who carry weapons, Nakina Sastrapana, and also those who have long nails like animals, and royal families. Then Istris, woman, don't trust. So that was the society at the time of the Buddha. Yavvanam, Darshana, that means even the sight of a woman brings you misfortune. That was yes, it's terrible. That was the poets. Right? Even if you have a touch of a woman, that you will just be sick. Those are the poets they have written. So there's a strong movement against the women folk. That's the time. How you can expect Buddha to ordain you and put them in the same equal footing? Buddha was the only teacher, even up to this day, religious leader who encouraged women. and who gave the right place, equal opportunities, equal place. And not only that, he very often said, ladies are sometimes superior than men. All the time encouraged and gave the ordination. And like other religions in Hinduism or Jainism, women cannot attain the higher levels because she is a woman. Buddhism, no. You can attain whatever the spiritual position if you practice my teaching. It is not necessary for men, it's for all human beings. So there is no something like that. This part is for women, this part is for men. No. Equal status was given by Buddha. That's the reason that Maha Prajapati goes to me, in what time, Chiranjiva, Mahavira, a great hero, Kappantita Mahamuni, a great ascetic, may live millions and millions of years. Loka Sattaya, for the good of many. Bhavasu Ajaramaru. Eternal. We know that this is Arhat. You cannot expect anyone to be eternal. But she's saying, because in veneration, this is a Buddha's teaching. It's the only teaching in the world that gave the highest position to the woman. Highest position to the woman. Even today, in so-called developed countries, women are fighting for equal rights, equal payment. I saw just a Viber message I received from somebody in Malaysia. A priest delivering a speech saying, you must enjoy your slave wife. Wife is a slave created by the God to you, the maid. Just only a few days ago I saw an invited priest from another country is coming here and delivering that type of thing. So there's a long way still for the women folks to fight for rights. A long way. Therefore, it is the prime duty of all women folks to work, organize better way to win your rights. And your rights mean, as Buddhists, you have to be very proud because you are equal. But if you go to another society, sometimes you will not get the proper recognition, due respect, all, etc. So we need today pay our attention what the Buddha has given us, the privilege. That privilege we must propagate, educate other peoples, what Buddha has done for the woman. One writer in England, Francis Story, you must have heard of him. In his article, what Buddhism has done for women. He starts says, those who live in Buddhist countries will never understand what Buddhism has done for women because they have never seen it. If you grow up here in this country, in Europe, in the West, then you will see, understand it well, what Buddhism has done for women. This is what our duty is going to be. We must give the proper place to the rest of the world, women folk. Maha Goswami movement is still alive. We need to carry that message. Maha Goswami gave up everything. She could remain as a royal at its royal palace, but she wanted to serve the women folk. Princess Yasodhara, when Siddhartha left, she was wearing simply plain clothes, gave up ornaments, makes up, and she simply lived in ascetic, female ascetic at home. She was following her husband's footpath. When Prince Siddhartha went to the forest, simply wearing a cloak and sleeping under a tree, Yasodhara was sleeping on the ground, on the floor, not in the bed, even the royal palace, because in honor of her husband. Therefore, some people like Charles Eliot, the writer, says the beginning of the female ordination started with Yasodhara. It was simply just his opinion, but in fact, it started with the Maha Goswami. Now today, there is a great demand all over the world to give the rise to this movement of Prajapati Gautam. And now it is becoming more and more popular, not in Europe, but in Europe and in the West. And it also becoming slowly a kind of women rights movement, which is wrong. Women in America and Europe, they are fighting for different equality. But this cannot be compared. Sometimes, especially in American women's liberation movements, they say that Buddha was not given proper place to the women because of these 8 rules that he wanted female nuns, Bhikkhunis to follow. It is not a kind of embarrassing rules. It's something that will make you more and more simple and humble. Maha Goswami followed it throughout her life. And all other saintly Bhikkhunis, they followed it. But when it goes to the hands of the Westerners, they always talk about what is the equality, but they misinterpret. But we have a lot to do to popularize this ordination of women. Because there have been a lot of remarkable work. At the time of Buddha, there were principal attendants, male attendants, but also there were principal attendants, female attendants. Matacharo, Kulavanna, the great disciples They were great masters, and also they were able to expound Dhamma in sometimes better than monks. So Buddha has given sometimes better place to women or Bhikkhunis than monks, because they were better qualified than monks. This is something unique. Something unique because Buddha was always encouraging to give the right place, proper place to those who qualify for it. Doesn't matter whether it's a man, doesn't matter whether it's a woman. If she or he is qualified, he should be given that place. And this is why those who know what Buddha has done for women, they will die for him. Even Maha Gautami, on many different occasions, she has been saying, "Oh hero, you released me. You released many people like me, and we pay you homage for many days to come, many years to come, many years to come, in appreciation of the service done by Buddha for the woman folk." Why it is very important? Because there is no somebody that was appointed by Buddha to be the leader of this moment. Those who understood the importance of the Dhamma, importance of the moment, sometimes they left the king. Queens, they have left king and became nuns. Some wealthy woman, they left the family and became nuns. Sometimes a lady who had only single child, they left the child with their relatives and they became nuns. So they have been very encouraging. And the sacrifice done by the woman, say, Bhikkhunis, we don't see even among monks. We don't see. Monks, they were doing a good job, but until this day, the sacrifice done by woman, if it had not been due to the sacrifice of the woman, we won't see a Buddhism today what we see today. Because it is always the leadership of the woman has protected Buddhism and brought from generation to generation. Therefore, it is very important that women folks must take leadership today. Leadership in the sense we need to walk together with monks. But ladies lag behind due to certain difficulties, certain barriers. But we have to overcome all barriers and move forward. In the name of the Buddhas, in the name of the Buddha's teaching, for propagating this noble message across the globe, we do need the full participation of the women folks. If it doesn't happen, then the future of Buddhism will be bleak. Now it is time for us to think and organize and move forward. Why I say this? Because when the leadership is taken by the woman, they will never give it up. They will never give it up. Of course, monks have sacrificed, they have done a remarkable job safeguarding the Buddhist teaching and bringing it up to this today. But there is always force behind the nuns and women. If you go to a retreat today, you will see 75% of the participants are women. And if you go to the kitchen, you will see only 2% of men. The basic prerequisites provided by the woman. And for this reason, we do need to encourage. Now, if you go to the world, I have seen in many different countries, now Buddhist temples are coming up, many different Buddhist temples. Wherever the Buddhist immigrant populations, especially in the US and Europe. And recently I was asked to write an article about the Buddhism in America, which I have given you. You might see it soon in a publication. And we estimate there may be about 13 to 14 million Buddhists in America. Actually, they are not taking part in Buddhist activities, but in terms of when you see that there is a participation. They don't go to church, they read, occasionally they go to a monastery or practice. But as like in Christianity, we don't ask them to baptize and we don't write or register. Actually, there are a number of Buddhists, a growing population. And among them also, women are more. So we need to encourage them. If you want to see a prosperous, a successful organization of women, we do need to encourage them and organize. Without that, our movement will be very weak. If our Buddhist propagation is not taking the way it has taken a few years ago, if it goes, it's okay. Here there's a talks, we organize Dhamma talks, we organize retreat here and there. It's not enough. What Mahapajapati Gautami wanted was to get a force that will take the Buddha's teaching to new generation for many years and eternal in the world. For that we need the ladies to take the leadership. How we take this leadership? How we take this leadership? It is the question. Now it is taking a quite different turn. People, they want to be good Buddhist, they want to organize activities, retreats, trips to religious places. But basic important thing is forgotten. Especially in Chinese Buddhist community, we want to say that we see many singles. They don't want to produce children. And Chinese community belongs to a dying race. 10 years ago when I came, the population of Chinese population here some nearly 30 or something. Now it's slowly going below the 20s. The decline of the Chinese population is a decline of the Buddhist population. Sad news for the Buddhists and Buddha. So it is our appeal is, don't remain single. Produce some children. If you don't want children, produce children, give to the temple. Yes, we are always ready to accept them and raise them. Because we need monks and nuns. We need monks and nuns. So you take this leadership. If you don't take this leadership, then it's a sad news for all Buddhists. I've been telling this all the time, that produce children. Give them to the temple if you don't want. I remember it's difficult. In the sense, when I was 13, when I left my home to become a monk, Samaneri, I was one of the 8 in the families. And the day when I left, according to the Sri Lankan tradition, we prepared a milk rice and small party at home. And my father is going to take me. And I'm just at the time of leaving my house. All my brothers and sisters were there. Here, my mother, like a bomb. Oh, crying, hug me, grab me and say, yes, yeah. 7 more children. But still, she feels that it's a hard thing. But to be a mother of a Buddha Putra is the greatest thing. To be a mother of a Buddha Putra, you can say that I have become a monk or nun, but I have produced a child I have given to the Buddha. How many of you are able to say that? It's not an easy thing. I remember a Vietnamese Buddhist lady, she invited me for a Dhamma talk from Toronto. She took me to Vietnam. Yes, and very wealthy lady. And after the Dana, I was given Dhamma talk and there were 4 children were sitting. I told her, in the presence of so many people, Madam, you're so fortunate. You are blessed with everything, material wealth, and also you are blessed with the children, 4 nice children. Putta vattu manusana. Children is a wealth for the parents. So why don't you give 1 son to the Buddha? She said, no, Bhante, please. I asked why. No. I just want to know what is. I don't want to see my child be miserable. It's not an easy life, but once you get used to it, it's a peaceful joy life. So my purpose of coming today is to give this message. Rather than in Dhamma talk, I wanted to give this message to ask you. Either you join or produce children and give them to the Buddha. And make it a powerful movement. Right? It's a nice thing if you can do it. It's a nice thing.
So Bhante, just to clarify, your message is, okay, for women who are still able to produce, number 1. Number 2, join the movement.
Yes.
That's also another route, right?
Yes.
Join a nunnery.
We, for that, because we see that Malaysia needs monks and nuns. Malaysian is monks and nuns. And I know that Brother Eric called me when I was in India, and they can you give 2 talks, 21 and 28. I said I'll see. When I came here, I told him that I cannot say no to you, but I give you only one. Because I'm also busy. And we have opened another. That is a Madurai. Brother Eric is also organizer of our Bodhidharma Society. And we try to encourage women to join. We will provide them with free education, free training. And we give the priority to those who have produced children. So that is one qualification. Then we will ask them to, we will open other centers so that these nuns can take care of. If they take the leadership, Buddhism will definitely flourish. I tell you, if these methods are followed, you won't believe, but I tell you, Buddhism will slowly become the major religion of Malaysia. I bet you. Now it is in your hand. It's not something difficult. It is the will. If you have a will, that's the way. In the name of the Buddha, in the name of the Buddha's teaching, we have inherited wonderful religion. There's no match with this teaching. So everybody in the world, they always have enormous respect for Buddha. Those who are not Buddhist, even they sometimes they keep somewhere a statue of Buddha, a picture of the Buddha. Like Prime Minister Nehru in India, at his office was decorated with pictures of the Buddhas up and down and here and there. And one Prime Minister, visiting Prime Minister, questioned him, "Oh, Prime Minister Nehru, what is this? Only Buddha's pictures are there in this. Not even in your wife's picture. How come? What's this?" He said, "I am the Prime Minister of India. Over 100 millions of people. Every Indian is a problem for me. So I am loaded with millions of problems in my head, very heavy. So each time when I am loaded with many problems, I simply open my eyes and look at the picture. When I see the picture of the Buddha, that gives me enormous peace." So many places, many leaders, even Prince Charles once said, "I do not want to disclose, but I am very much influenced by Buddha's teaching. But as a royal, I cannot disclose this fact because he loses privileges." So this is fact. So we have inherited all these talks and Dharma talk, retreats, all these things. We are doing these things in the name of for the service of the mankind. We have that opportunity. We have that ability. We need the commitment, dedication and devotion. Like Maha Gautami. All women must be proud of her. A symbol of courage, determination, commitment, devotion. A forceful organization. And you have inherited. You can say that Prajapati Gautami is a woman. And from that, I invite you again and again, take part and do something to revive this Bhikkhuni order. And we need this, your support, your commitment, and give this message, please, to them. And let us make again and again the movement of Mahapajapati Gautami, a greatest movement on the planet. Only then we can save Buddhism in the future. And for that, women's leadership is important. King Dharmasoka had 2 children. Mahinda Sanghamitra sent to Sri Lanka. And some people, and even here, the richest man whose son went to the forest.
Ananda son.
Yes.
Siripala.
Even at the time of Buddha, some princes who lived a fancy life. It is said that even they, under the feet they were hair, because they have never stepped on the floor. So fancy life. But they left everything, they sat under the tree, meditated, but they say, Aho Sukham, Aho Sukham. What a peaceful, joyful life. We are fortunate that we have inherited that. Let us share this Dhamma with others. Let us give whatever the possible ways that we can to revive the Bhikkhuni ordination in Malaysia. And I think it is the message I want to give. I want to talk to you, but it is 11:15. I was told to talk only up to 11. It's 15 minutes late, so I took 15 minutes. Thank you. And whatever we said, it is a part of the Dhamma. We talk about the life of the greatest nun. We talk about the life of the other nuns who joined the order, who sacrificed their life, family life, wealth. They gave up everything for liberation of their samsaric journey, to be free from the slow samsaric journey and save mankind and others. And I want to end this talk with another, what you call that Maha goes and say, "Oh hero, homage to you, save me from pain, and many other beings in the world, in the universe, from ever pain." That was the homage to the Buddha by the Maha Gautama, the greatest Bhikkhuni. May you all be well and happy. May your onward path be full of joy and happiness. May no harm come to you. May no misfortune come to you. May your day-to-day life be full of joy and happiness. May you have the wisdom and courage to serve yourself and serve the Dhamma today and tomorrow. Sukhi hotu.
Our highest thanks to Professor Bhante Seevali for the very excellent Dhamma sharing today. Any questions, brothers and sisters?
Yes, I want a question, please.
I have a lot of questions actually. I got 8 questions, so I'm not sure how we're going to go through all of it.
Yeah, yes.
Can I?
Yes, yes, please.
Okay. You are aware, Bhante, that in many retreats, and in fact, it's also an observation that more than 2/3 of attendants in meditations and retreats and workshops, a lot are women. Sometimes half to half, but a lot of times more. So in some of this meditation, we learn about body meditation, and in this body meditation, actually, it creates a bit of, in my experience, when I do body meditation, it creates dispassion in me, in a lot of sexual things. It creates dispassion. I'm like, I'm not like a usual adult anymore. The way I think is a bit different. How would that help a person like me? Like if I were to go into the marriage route, and when I do this meditation, it creates dispassion. So how do you manage this? So is that the only route we have to go is the nunhood? Because there's a lot of dispassion in me already on a lot of all these things. So and a lot of us attend meditation. We learn all these techniques. So I need to raise this. That's just one of the questions.
Yes, yes.
7 out of 8.
Sure. Now you see, there are so on those who attain the first stage, so on. So we call Sotapatti. Sotapatti, Satudagam, and Agam-Arhat. These are the 4 stages. Those who have attained the first stage, Sotapatti, they live family life. They are married, they have children. Therefore, you should not let your passion to control your emotions. And it is important to understand that not to live a nun in a lay life. You have to be a nun or you have to be a woman. Living in a lay life, you don't try to live a life of a nun and a family. There is a conflict.
Then it's difficult.
Yes.
Choose. You have to choose at one point.
Yes.
Bhante, another question. You mentioned that it started off with 8 rules
Yes.
for the when Maha Prajapati
Yes.
started the association,
Yes.
and you have 300 more Vinaya rules today. It has evolved, right, from 8.
Yes.
What is the first 8?
First, there are 8 rules, but some are similar. Like first one is even if you get ordained, if you are 100 years old, but you must worship a monk who get ordained today. It's not necessarily a kind of a discrimination, not at all. It is a way that will help you be more humble. And in many occasions, as I mentioned, sometimes when the ladies enter the ordination, there have been a kind of psychological problems. Psychological problems in the sense that did not want to follow the advice of the monks. Even it has not been necessary in the Buddhist team, but in others orders also, like in Nigantanath Putra. So it is not necessary that the Buddha was considering the ladies inferior to men, not at all, not something like that. Maha Prajapati with Gautam followed it throughout life, and all others, it was quite helpful to her. So it is not kind of a discrimination, not at all. But the other rules are also similar thing like that. You have to live close by the monks because to get advice from them from time to time. And also we have seen on different occasions, different times, different periods, when they were let alone, there have been kind of psychological problems. Their coexistence has been difficult. And so they always, sometimes even the nuns, they didn't want to consult nuns, but they were always looking for monks to consult. So there were certain difficulties among themselves. Sometimes we cannot discuss in public also, there were certain things. And for that reason, certain rules were not very. The first major rule was that the woman must respect the monks. That's the one that's what these Westerners and Europeans, they said that it's kind of discrimination. No. From their point of view, discrimination according to their society there. Because the no salary equals salary or the, but here it's not.
Bhante, I have another question. I'm sorry
No, yes.
Maha Prajapati started an association. It was very strong, and from what I'm hearing, they were very active back then. Very active. What is the shape of Bhikkhunis association today? And how are Bhikkhunis treated in different parts? Because I'm not hearing very positive stories in other parts of the world. Like in Thailand, I think it's not easy for them to have a Bhikkhuni order. So, there's the kind of things going on there. So, and some of us want to know more. What is happening all over the world? Is there a really encouraging situation right now for Bhikkhunis to even be there in the first place?
I think it's quite encouraging news everywhere in the world because like the Burma, Thailand, they do not accept the Bhikkhuni order.
Yes.
But Sri Lanka definitely do accept, but not to government acceptance officially, because there is a pressure from other groups.
But does that lead to mistreatment on some of these Bhikkhunis?
No, not at all. There's no mistreatment at all.
Okay.
Not at all. In Sri Lanka, it is maybe in the books, but in Sri Lanka, monks are invited, nuns are invited, and they are equally treated. There's no at all whatsoever difference. But in Thailand, for example, the Bhikkhu order establishments does not like to accept the order, existence of Bhikkhuni order, because they said that lineage is broken. But in Sri Lanka, because the China took the Bhikkhuni order from Sri Lanka, and the lineage is still there. Even today we believe that lineage is there. And then Sri Lanka got the Bhikkhuni order, ordination from China. And from Sri Lanka then they ordained some nuns from countries. But there is a protest. There is always like Thailand. Thailand, there is a Venerable Dhammadinna. I went there, I discussed with her. There's about 274 nuns and 72 centers. But she is not going public and criticize, or she, yes. And then even the monks have warned her, stay as you are, but don't come forward and try to popularize it. But she's a fighter. Because Buddha has clearly stated, I permit, anujanami bhikkhave, papajetum bhikkhuni. I permit monks to ordain and give high ordination to female devotee. It is clearly said. So in Sri Lanka it's a very popular. Now the more than monks, I think in Sri Lanka more nuns. And some rural areas, they are taking care of, they are attending, they are conducting retreats, they are delivering sermons and attending day-to-day activities. And some are very educated. Head of the Department of Buddhist Studies in Sri Lanka, the prestigious university, was a nun. Yes, and lots of monks are learning from there. So, but Burma is different. Thailand is different. Burma is, of course, you are not allowed to wear the yellow robe, pink. But in Sri Lanka it's not. But in Nepal it's the same thing. But in Thailand they are wearing this robe. So there is a progress. I don't think that there is any evidence that it is curbed their progress. No, everybody is supporting. And if there is anything, who knows, we cannot read sometimes minds. But we must take the leadership. Ladies must take the leadership because there are a lot to back you. That will be the great thing, yes. Yeah. Yes.
Any questions?
Yes.
Just a small one. Because in monkhood, we have an age that you have to ask parents' permission 7 years and above. Then you don't need to ask your parents' permission to be a monk. Because does it apply to the nunneries also, the nuns also? They must have a certain age before they can come into the nunhood.
Even at the time of Buddha, you see that one has to be 20 to get high ordination. And then if she becomes a nun even after 20 years, but she has to be at least minimum for 2 years training. Simply because one can walk into the temple, people cannot, they will not be able to get ordination. No, that's training period. Yes.
Okay, brothers and sisters, any more questions?
One, I'm going to ask.
Yes, yes.
And Bhante, is it true that this is ladies cannot become a Sambuddha? Is it due to the cosmic nature or what?
You asked me this question several times. I remember you. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, that is a good question though. I also answered last time. There are 3 types of Buddha, Pacceka Buddha, Samma Sambuddha. So, only difference between Buddha and Samma Sambuddha is simply because he invented, Invented means he found that he was the first to find the truth. That's a difference. Otherwise, there's no difference. But of course, with the attainment of enlightenment, he can develop abhinyas and other qualities. But otherwise, the level of the 10 samyojanas, fetters, these 10 fetters, when you eliminate those 10 fetters, you are enlightened. So all those who have enlightened, they are called Buddha. But Samma Sambuddha is the one who first invented this. So in your case, woman cannot be a Samma Sambuddha because we have never heard. It is just like a natural thing, sometimes cosmic order sometimes. Because if someone asks, why my wife can be pregnant, why I cannot be pregnant? Husband can ask this question. This has nothing to do with the equality or anything. It's a natural law sometimes. Niyama dharma we call, order of the nature. So it is. So this is what we have not seen the Buddha has become. But attainment, enlightenment, Buddhahood is possible for you.